Okay guys, which one should you buy? This is a question you have asked me multiple times. We are talking about by Kilian's Straight to Heaven. This is it right here. Also by Kilian's Straight to Heaven Extreme. This is it right here. And then finally, Tiziana Terenzi's Ursa. This is it right here. Now I've spoken a lot about all three of these fragrances, and the last one I probably did a full review of was Ursa with my friend Dahlia. But I have spoken a lot about these two throughout the years on different videos. In fact, I've spoken a lot about the original Straight to Heaven on my previous channel. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you about these three fragrances today and let you know which one you should buy, or maybe you decide yourself. I'm going to tell you what works best for me. So if you're curious to learn about these three fragrances and how close they are and how different they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today I'm talking about by Kilian's Straight to Heaven, by Kilian's Straight to Heaven Extreme, and also Tiziana Terenzi's Ursa. Before we do all that, if this is your first time tuning into this channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So by Kilian's Straight to Heaven is a fragrance I first purchased back in 2012. I fell in love with it upon initial sniff at Saks Fifth Avenue here in San Francisco. So I thought, wow, this is boozy, this is patchouli, this is woody. And at this time I was not very experienced with different fragrances, but as soon as I smelled it, I loved it. So I ended up buying not a full bottle, but I ended up buying the Traveler. So it came in a small atomizer with 4 different mini bottles of this particular fragrance. I wore that and used it and loved it. In fact, I had shot a full review of it on the old channel. And then of course I bought a full bottle because I just really fell in love with it. Years later, they said, oh, this is going to launch. You better get yourself a bottle. This is Straight to Heaven Extreme. And I thought, wow, I always loved Straight to Heaven. It works really great. In fact, in the heat, it actually opens up, becomes sweeter, fruitier, and more vanillic. Do I want a more extreme version or a more intense version of that one? Of course I do. So I have it. But I never knew that Ursa was a similar fragrance to these two fragrances. In fact, this came out 2 years prior to the Extreme, and I could probably see that maybe they did it because of this. I don't really know, but I did do a full review of this 2 years ago on this channel. Maybe it's 1 year ago, I can't quite remember. And really loved the way this smells. In fact, it's fantastic. It is everything I wanted in these two fragrances. Everything. It's just a dream come true, Straight to Heaven replacement. But in reality, I'm not sure if this was meant to be copying Straight to Heaven. I don't know. But to me, it's a great alternative to the original Straight to Heaven or Straight to Heaven Extreme. I love both houses, don't get me wrong. But out of all three, I am definitely preferring this one. And I'll tell you all about it. So this is actually a great patchouli, fruity, boozy concoction, slight sweet touches. And it retails for a 50 ml bottle for $2.40, like this. This is the non-coffret packaging. Now by Kilian is doing fragrances without their big presentation, so you pay less and you get less presentation and just a bottle and the juice. Of course there is a refill. That's just a basic refill bottle. Doesn't look anything like this. It's I think it's $190 for 50 ml, but there's also a large carafe bottle, 250 ml for I think it's $870. So it's quite pricey, and you know, it's a luxury item. It's owned by Estee Lauder, even though Kilian by Kilian's family is with LVMH for their Hennessy brand. I think he decided because of that to go with Estee Lauder, so there probably won't be any conflict of interest or something like that. But you know, this is a great scent. It really is. And what we have here it's a woody fragrance with boozy touches, loads of patchouli, rum, and it's got warm and spicy touches. But I've always felt that this, I don't know if it's from reformulation or just in general, it kind of doesn't have the density that I want, the density and intensity that I want from this kind of a fragrance, because in the end it smells fantastic, but it feels like there's something transparent about it. And when I speak about fragrances, if a fragrance is really dense, when you're wearing it, you can't really see through it. And in a lot of fragrances that are lighter, you can experience the notes right through. And with this fragrance, that's what happens. So I've always felt that it was lighter. And even though it's the kind of fragrance I would wear more in the winter temperatures, I feel like this fragrance opens up so much in the heat. For me, it's light enough, but it might get sweet for some people because it gets sweeter in the heat. The vanilla comes through more, the fruity touches comes through more. And even though, as I said, it's the kind of fragrance you would wear in the cold weather, I felt like this was perfect to wear in the heat because of those sweet touches. I love sweet fragrances to begin with, but this opened up a lot more in the heat outside in the summertime versus when you're not wearing it in the summertime. It's a lot colder and starker experience unless you've got your body temperature is heated up, and you can see some vanillic and fruity touches open up further. But for me, in general, in the winter time, it's not as interesting as it is when you're wearing it in the summertime. So those are my thoughts with the original Straight to Heaven. So if you have options for both of these and you have the budget, I would actually skip this one. Just skip it, because it's a great scent. It's just not dense enough. Now, some of you might not be into dense fragrances, and if you like the idea of this one, you can go with this one. But as I said, for me, if I have the option of by Kilian Straight to Heaven Extreme and also Ursa, I would completely skip this now. I don't need this one because it's a lighter experience, even though you're talking about like more intense and oriental, woody kind of spicy notes. I would still skip this one. Now, going to these two, these are what I really compared together. So because I'm saying skip the original, but again, I'll say it again, if you like lighter scents, you might check that one out and not skip it. But for me, I'm skipping it. I'm going right to these. And these are the two I really tested against one another and how they act. So by Kilian Straight to Heaven Extreme came out in 27. It's once again considered a woody, spicy fragrance, but I feel like it's an oriental woody, spicy because, you know, you do have the vanilla notes in here. You have oriental notes in here. And so I would call all three of these oriental fragrances. This one actually retails 50 ml for $325. I think this is not full presentation for $325. I think it's the similar non-coffret price point, but I could be wrong with that one. I personally bought this bottle used from someone. It did not come with the full presentation, so I have this as is. With this one, it's once again similar to the previous one, but it is denser. It does seem like it's a lot thicker, and it does have better longevity. Comparing it to this one, Tiziana Terenzi's Ursa came out in 2015. The perfumer for all Tiziana Terenzi fragrances is Paolo Terenzi. This is considered an oriental spicy fragrance. Once again, you have similar kind of styles. It's woody. This is actually balsamic. There's lots of patchouli. There's leather here. It's warm and spicy and fruity. So what are the differences then? So when I was testing this out, I tested it out quite frequently. Before I tell you how they compare, when you smell these away from one another, they'll definitely remind you of one another. This is always true with when fragrances remind you of one another, up until you're actually testing them out. Here, when you're not side by side, they remind you of one another. When they're side by side and you're testing them on different hands, man, there's so much differences. You can totally pick out the differences. This one, compared to this one, I spoke about how the original Straight to Heaven is not, you know, dense. You can see through it. When you're comparing it to this, you can definitely see through it. Although it is denser than the original, that's why it's called Extreme. You can definitely, this you can't see through at all because it's so thick, it's so dense, it's so intense. One thing I forgot to mention, this is Extrait de Parfum. These two, I believe, are Eau de Parfum. Extrait de Parfum is generally a lot more concentrated perfume oils, and all fragrances from Tiziana Terenzi RX Straight de Parfum. I could be wrong about this one, but I don't think that by Kilian has any X-ray concentration fragrances. But going back to the review, this is a lot thicker, a lot denser, and a lot more intense than this fragrance. They spray on sort of similar with nuances. I pick up woodier touches here. This one, a lot fruitier touches. For me, when the dry down, this becomes more transparent and less dense. Very airy, woody, light fruity touches. This one, fruits come all out. Really, really like fruit compote made with apricots and nectarines and stone fruit mostly. Like those stone fruit smell is fantastic. I love eating dried fruits, apricots and nectarines or peaches, and it's almost like you're like wearing fruits, dried fruits soaked in patchouli and rum, wearing on your hands. That's what this reminds me of. So they're completely different performance-wise. This disappears much, much faster than this. This lingers on and on and on. And again, I love both brands. I love all their fragrances, but as far as performance goes here with these two fragrances, this one is a beast compared to this one, even though this one is called Extreme. And I don't like the dry down as much. I mean, here, it's kind of like that airy, woody, slightly fruity patchouli. Here, it's just an amazing concoction. As I said, it's got like the fruits and rum and patchouli. I forgot to mention the vanilla also, and leather, because when you spray this, the leather comes through quite big. They're all soaking in that, you know, in some kind of like a liquid, and it's like this becomes like a fruit compote with those dried fruits of apricots, nectarines, peaches, maybe some light plums, along with the vanilla, the patchouli, and that rum. It is so delicious, guys. I've never really compared something this extensively, but these two definitely deserve to be compared because I've always thought that they smelled so close, but when you're testing them out, they're so not similar. They're just completely different. And for me, I am so happy with Ursa. It is a fantastic, fantastic smell. I've immediately bought my mom a bottle of this one just recently because she smelled me wearing it once and she said, what is it that you're wearing? So I ended up buying a bottle for her because she really loved the smell. She loves patchouli because she loves things like Angel and Mademoiselle from Chanel. So I kind of got her interested in this particular fragrance because she knows about this brand and she loves Gold Rose Oud because I bought her a bottle once when Paolo Terenzi was visiting here and I got him to sign the bottle. But I think in general, you can totally test them out yourself, get samples, but for me, I would totally go with this one. Now, the price of this one is 100 ml for $300. Suggested retail price is pretty high. But I did see, I mean, of course, I bought it for my mom just like 2 days ago, $123 for 100 ml. Discounted. So way, way, way cheaper than these two fragrances. I mean, I believe you can find these two fragrances at discounters, but if you're doing the toss-up, this is really inexpensive for a 100 ml because suggested retail, as I said, is $300, but I found it at Fragrance X, which I have a link to in the info box, for $123. That is a phenomenal price for this. And the beastliness and the intensity, the density for this one just can't be beat. And as I said, this one dries down to this kind of airy, kind of like transparent, woody kind of a concoction with light hints of fruits and vanilla and patchouli. This one is just phenomenal. The smell is fantastic. On me, it smells so good and I love it. Now, as I said earlier, this one smells great in the heat because it opens up, becomes fruitier and more vanillic and boozier. To me, this one, I don't even need to go to the heat because on me, it just becomes that and it smells fantastic. The combination is great. One more thing I want to say about these two, I feel like the patchoulis they're using are different as well. This one is so sexy in comparison to this one. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a sexy concoction. I really love it. But now that I've compared it to this one, I think it's a phenomenal smell. You know, next to each other, side by side. So in the end, when I've always thought this was a fantastic and phenomenal sexy fragrance, testing them out just totally brought out the sexy beast in this one. Anyway, those are my thoughts today. I do want to say one more thing. I don't know if I mentioned it already. I don't know if you can find discounts of these. Once in a blue moon you can, but I don't think these are discounted as much as fragrances like Tiziana Terenzi, where you can find such a great savings, because for $123, this is actually less than half the price of suggested retail. That's a fantastic price. So now I'm sending my mom a bottle of this because she loved it that one time I took it up there just recently when I was visiting. And I wore it because I've been planning to do this video for a while. Finally am. And that's when she said, oh my God, that smells so good, I want. And I'm giving her a bottle. Anyway, those are my thoughts today on Ursa against, you know, the original Straight to Heaven with Straight to Heaven Extreme. What are your thoughts about these three fragrances? I shouldn't say two, because it is three different fragrances. One other thing I want to mention, I keep forgetting, by Kilian Straight to Heaven Extreme is not like a regular lineup of fragrance, so I believe it's a limited edition. So if you are on the hunt and you love it, probably get a bottle of it, because they will pull it. Although they brought it once, you know, and then they pulled it, now they've brought it back, so I don't know how long they will hold on to it or have it in on sale until they pull it again. So that's one other thing I should say about the two fragrances. And just once again, I'm not putting the brand down, I just, you know, I like the way this fragrance just develops on me more. I mean, in the end, when I compare them, just the development of this one is so much better for me than these two, even though I've always thought these were great. And now that I've done this test, I'm all over Tiziana Terenzi's Ursa. Anyway, those are my thoughts today for this fragrance, or these fragrances. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you a fan of By Kilian Straight to Heaven? Let me know when you bought your bottle of By Kilian Straight to Heaven, even if you bought just the, you know, the refill or the atomizers. And also, have you tried By Kilian Straight to Heaven Extreme? And lastly, Ursa. What are your thoughts of all three of these fragrances? And maybe you don't even like this kind of a style of fragrance. Patchouli, boozy, fruity, vanilla, kind of an oriental, woody, spicy fragrance. I'd like to find out. Put a comment down so I can find out. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today. I have some more comparison videos coming up, and I think I'm going to get back on the educational videos as well. So lots of different ideas. Stay tuned for videos. I do have a video of 3 fragrances you should wear from one brand video coming up tomorrow for Saffron. On Friday, I have a review of a fragrance from the 70s that both Dahlia and I liked that I recently shot via Zoom. And then Saturday, I have a top 20 fragrance video of a style, a note in perfumes that I haven't spoken much about that I think is very popular and you're going to like. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.